I am the Frugal Gardener. Welcome to my homestead garden. I am super excited today because this is my first fall tour of the season, and finally, after being on this homestead for a little over a year, things are finally shaping up the way that I had hoped that they would a year ago. And what we're going to do is we're going to start from over this way. We're going to work our way around into a horseshoe shape. And boy, there is a lot going on. This is my dream from, like I said, a year ago, and it's finally taken shape. This is the most I've ever planted, and it's actually working out. This garden is in zones. This is zone A. This is my first zone on the tour. This is B over here, and we'll work our way around. I finally got my new mini greenhouse set up, and this is a little bit more than half full. And as you can see, I have spinach, I have lettuce, I have eucalyptus, I have, oh boy, there's peppers. This is dinosaur kale that's it's struggling a little bit. I may have to put this out into the sun. This is bok choy. This is Chinese cabbage. This is watercress. All these are plants that you can grow in the fall. Takes about 2 months to grow bok choy, and the watercress, that's about 6 to 8 weeks. The Chinese cabbage is well, it's about the same, but this watercress is kind of an experiment. I'll show you the one that I have down the other end when I get to it. This, by the way, is red Russian kale. Now, the reason for the red Russian kale is actually not for the family, it's for the chickens because they don't get grass in the winter, and this is nutrients that will help them. That's going to take about 50 days to grow. So that's my new setup, and I still have lots of room. I can put a few plants over here, one here, and almost this whole section here is still available. So trust me, I'll be putting this to good use. I did a previous video where I showed you how I assembled this. This is the barrier to keep the cold air out. This runs through the whole length, the whole 98 inches, almost 100 inches. And then there's insulation on top to keep things warm. Actually, things have been too warm in here, so I may have to consider taking some of these things out until the weather changes. This is my Jamaican sorrel, and so moving on to zone B. These are my peas, and if you've ever tasted fresh peas, trust me, you do not want to go back to frozen, or definitely not canned peas. So that's this area here. This is my pride and joy. This is something that I had at the old place. It worked well at the old place, but I struggled here because of the heat. These are 14 milk crates of collard greens. So these take about 70 to 80 days to grow, and you can see these are doing quite well. The original plan for these was to grow one each because they can get pretty large. And I planted like 3 or 4 seeds in each one of these, and I figure I'll take some out, which I'm still going to do on the ones that, like this one here, all 3 seeds germinated. that's probably going to be too crowded in there. So I'll probably have to take a few of those out. So this is what I have. What I am going to do is swap out this cloth here. I had a issue with the deer. They had a little convention over here last night. It was about 8 or 9 of them on the other side of that road. And it doesn't take much for them to come over here and get in here and have a buffet. So I cover this every night. The frugal son-in-law put these T-posts in for me. So what I do is just cover this over. But when it gets cold, this plastic here is going to be put over here. I'm going to measure this out and cut it to fit. And these clamps here will hold it in place. Everything this winter is going to be covered except for the raised garden that I'm about to show you. And this year, like I said, it's because I had the time to actually do things properly. This is my work area. Excuse me. These are potatoes that need about another 4 or 5 weeks. This is the area that you don't generally see where I am putting together black-eyed peas. Some people call them cow peas. This is garlic that I haven't planted yet. This is organic garlic that I haven't planted. Now this is the other watercress that I showed you. Watercress should be in or near water, and this is, and you can see it's coming up nicely. There's a dead bee in there. Don't know how that got there. And these are carrots that I'm just starting. So again, this is my experimental area. It's not really classified. And over that way are the chickens. So you can skip that for now. One day I'll give you a tour of the homestead. But right now, this is Zone C. This is where I grew carrots last winter. And then I grew potatoes over the summer. And now what's here is carrots, garlic, and onions that will live here for the winter. The carrots will take about 2.5 months. And there's a covering I have for those also for obvious reasons. The deer come through here, and I learned the hard way. If I don't keep this covered right now, they're not going to bother it because it's just too small. It's just not even worth their time. But once these elephant garlic and onions and carrots get large enough, oh, trust me, they will be attracted and they will be here. And this year, the buffet will not be open because I'm on to them. So here's the deal. I garden year round, and any farmer will tell you, you need to let your land rest. So what I'm doing now is I planted this, well, 9/12. By the end of the year, this will be harvested. So what happens from December to spring? The ground will rest. So this will give my soil a chance to rejuvenate. And the other thing farmers will tell you is rotation, crop rotation. So I grew, like I said, potatoes, carrots. So next spring, once the ground is rested, I'll plant something else in this area. And this way, we should continue to get good harvest. And also, this area over here needs to be redone. So I've let this just go. This is just going. I'm not going to do anything with this. I'm going to clean this up in the spring after this is rested. This I'm going to probably pull out and redo. So I've already explained to you what I'm going to do with this. I don't need as much. This is actual greenhouse material. This is 8-ply, which is the thickness, and it would be more than enough to do what I need it to do to keep these plants over here covered. Obviously, this one is already covered, and I'll cut this down because what I'll have left is going to go to zone D or 4, which is this one. And I'm really happy about this because this is a brand new setup for me. The area, this bed has been here, but you can see the box is still here. This is kind of a hybrid. Saw this online, decided to try it out. It's a raised bed. This needs to be watered. It's a raised bed. This goes up. It's 12 inches, but I think it's a little bit higher than that. And then there's a cover that goes over this, just like the one on the other side, but it's just smaller. Now, I've already planted cabbage in this. If you look real close, you can see the cabbage coming up. And basically, it's going to take 70 to 100 days for this cabbage, but I'm not planting just regular cabbage. I'm planting red cabbage, or sometimes they call it purple cabbage, because purple, for the most part, not always, but for the most part, when you grow purple vegetables, they're higher in antioxidants. And I'm going to do a video in a couple of weeks on superfoods and things that you can grow that's going to help you to stay healthy during the winter. So this is the project I'm going to get to. The next time you see this area, this will be complete. And this area here is E. This is actually the last zone because I'm including this whole, everything I'm about to show you here. This is also a work in progress. These are the polycarbonate sheets that I had left over from the old property. And I'm going to use these T-posts to hold these in place. Right here, what I've done is just kind of fitted them out as an example to make sure that I had enough, to make sure that my plan was going to work. Down this end is something called, well, no, the tatso is down here. Tatso is, it's kind of like Asian lettuce, and that grows in about 45 to 50 days. It doesn't take long at all. Now, the other end is when I just planted. It's not even, I think it is listed here. So rather than take a chance on getting it wrong, I'll just read it. I'm starting to get better at putting labels on things. And there it is. This is the lettuce, the green ice lettuce that I just planted, whoa, probably about a week ago. And in the center here, you know what this is. These are the carrots. So this is going to go all the way around. And what I have left from here is going to go on top of this once it's secure. And to finish up, this doesn't look like much right now, but this is red Russian kale. This is red Russian kale, that I planted because why not? This bed was used for spinach last winter, and it was not used this spring or summer. So I have extra seeds. I'm making up for lost time. I'm making up for what I didn't harvest last spring and last summer. And that takes me to my other happy place project. The frugal son-in-law surprised me one day, and he knew that I was learning about hugelkultur and that I wanted this mound. Underneath this mound is wood chips and branches and twigs and small tree trunks and leaves, pretty much anything that's from nature that he was able to find on the property. And this mound was probably a foot higher, and that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to break down. Once the nutrients in here break down, matter of fact, you can see a little bit on the other side. Don't know how well you can see that, but you can see some of the branches and whatnot and what's here. These hoops are for, again, critter protection. I'm going to put netting over top of these, and it's going to just drape down. All this, well, the majority of this is red Russian kale, but also in here is Napa cabbage, and there is something called tatso, which is also in here. So this is working out great, better than I expected. Again, I used this over the summer. I attempted to grow sweet potatoes, but when you have the worst drought in 25 years and you have 90 to 100-degree temperatures every day, it's a little difficult. So I'm making up for that now. You can see there's a netting in here now that I had from over the summer, but once this grows through that netting, I'll have to cover it. And if it gets